The news.
The news.
The news. Behind the statist media lies.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Brock Lawley program. My name is Brock Lawley. I am your fearless host, and this is the show we tackle the news headlines. Ladies and gentlemen, Bernie won again. Again, Bernie beats Hillary Clinton. And I got to tell you this. I woke up and the entire media, I'm talking every single channel that I produced in the morning, went on without the mention of it, and with the just presumption that Hillary Clinton will receive her crown. Now, I got to tell you, in my lifetime, I've never seen a fix in like this before. First of all, you explain to me how you lose and walk away with almost similar delegates. That in and of itself is shameful. Ladies and gentlemen, the corruption, the just flagrant disregard for the will of the people, and this, of course, both parties. So I just want to reiterate, this is what it would be like. I don't see how it's different. Imagine that my hometown Philadelphia Eagles just took like 6 devastating losses in a row. Boom, 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 boom. You know, bloodbath scores, piling up the L's, not racking up any W's, right? And then imagine you turn on ESPN and they're like, hey, Fred, how do you think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to fare in the Super Bowl this year? You think they're going to be ready for their opponents? I don't know. What do you think? This is what we got in politics. Hillary Clinton getting her butt whooped at the ballot box time and time again. And I turn on the television and I'm like, how do you think Hillary Clinton's going to fare against Donald Trump in the upcoming general? I don't know. If I were the empty suit commentary, I'd be like, I don't know. Maybe she should start winning primaries before we talk about that. Joke, fixed, corrupt. Both parties are corrupt. Both parties are corrupt. Both parties have shown their butt. Both parties have exposed their rear end of corruption this time around. But at least the Republicans have enough self-respect as to you saw all kinds of noise and threats from the populace and saying, we are not going to take this. If you're a Democratic voter, if you're this big government-loving Democratic voter, you're not seeing that this party is top to bottom corrupt. Just today, maybe it's this week, today or yesterday. The IT guy that's given immunity, all his emails just hocus pocus vanish into the ether of Hillary Clinton and her corruptive crony universe. Poof, gone. Just so happens that this guy had the dirt on her. Just so happens that he has immunity. Just so happens that all of his emails are just gone, ladies and gentlemen. How, ladies and gentlemen, do you support a woman that is so obviously guilty of crimes of high treason against this nation? The answer, it's a cult. It's a mindless, emotive cult that we call the Democrat Party. Clearly, nonetheless, Bernie bends Hillary Clinton over his socialist knee and spanks her with the progressive stick of populist vote. And as a result, Hillary zags left, ladies and gentlemen, trying to keep up with Bernie. I got to tell you, I don't care about Hillary's campaign at all. I hope it crashes and burns like an old Navy plane in the Mediterranean. But if I'm on her team, you're not going to out-left Bernie Sanders, who wants to take 90% of somebody's income. So whoever's advising her, I know what we're going to do. We're going to out-left Bernie. Disaster. You're not going to out-left Bernie. Besides, she's plastic banana. Nobody believes her anyway. Who's advising her to do this? I have to ask you. Or the other option is that Hillary Clinton is just as left as Bernie, but is just camouflaging it. Both options, I guess, have viability. But why she feels she has to try to outflank Bernie from the left? Boy, that party is in nutso land. Anyway, New York Times piece tackles that. New documentary coming out about Clinton Cash, set to open in the Cannes Film Festival. And even MSNBC acknowledges that it's extremely damning and powerful. I think that's probably because MSNBC is all Bernie Sanders supporters. But nonetheless, anything that shines a spotlight of truth on anything at MSNBC, and I'm happy to get on board. So nonetheless, Clinton Cash documentary digging deep The woman is corrupt from head to hangnail on her tiny little piggy. Corrupt, corrupt, corrupt. It's going to get interesting. MSNBC.com, which you won't see roll off the lips of this podcast very often, has that piece again. Clinton Cash, the documentary. Oh, the corruption just continues to pile. Hillary has 31 policy white papers, ladies and gentlemen. And that's 6 months ago. The latest is about child care. The Democrats, here's how I boil this down in layman's terms. The Democrats want to take over preschool and kindergarten and child care. Now what they're going to say is this is somehow for the people, and this is one more field of the freeness that the Democrats want to run on. But let me offer for you an alternative reason for wanting to get their little grubby paws on even younger kids with minds full of mush. Maybe they want to start the indoctrination like weeks after birth. So here's the deal with the Dems. If they don't murder you by decapitating you and dismembering you in the womb, and then furthermore, if they don't profit off your body parts, then they want to immediately start indoctrinating you with whitewashed history, centralized power propaganda, and just generalized, like, slightly less corrosive propaganda than Hitler Youth textbooks. Just fill the head with propaganda, tell it what to think, not how to think. And let's get them even earlier. So apparently, first grade isn't early enough for the indoctrination, because some of them slip through. Still end up being conservatives. We know this because there's Fox News hosts. So, we got to get them earlier. We got to the cement has to set even faster. Wall Street Journal has that piece. Ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell you, this is a piece. Hansen wrote this piece in PJ Media. And for those, my fellow conservatives, if you want to call yourselves that, who are just dedicated to the Never Trump movement and like to get real hyperbolic and extreme about Trump, let's take the premise and let's walk together, shall we? Let's take a stroll to the park and sit down on the bench of ideas together. So if it's true that Trump is this egomaniacal, dangerous, totalitarian, well, is it true that maybe Barack Obama lowered the bar so low that Donald Trump just skipped over it? Is that true? Because I got to tell you, it's hard to choke down. Barack Obama gets on television, right? And he tells the mainstream media that they have to vet. This is true. They have to. He says to them, "We have to vet Donald Trump." Yeah. He lectures the media for giving the American people an excess amount of Donald Trump. This is Barack Obama we're talking about. Now, I mean, does anybody else smell the irony here? So I'm listening to this president in a press conference in like sober, serious, take me serious, judicious tones. He warns us Americans that we can't take seriously Trump. He implies and then outright says that he's a reality television show con man. Now, this is coming from a president whose chief foreign policy advisor, by the way, a failed fiction writer, just if you want to know the guy's background, just went on television bragging about he completely sold the sycophant journalists a whole line of goods, a lie about the Iranian nuclear deal. Just admitted that the whole thing was a lie and bragging about the fact that he was able to pull the puppeteer strings. This is a president who invites a rapper to the White House, and his court-appointed ankle monitor goes off during the president's ceremony. This is a president who sits down, who barely gives exclusives and then sits down with a YouTube personality, Glozell, who eats breakfast cereal floating in her bathtub. This is the president lecturing us on Trump having a reality television show. And he's lecturing us on vetting Trump. We're not vetting. Donald Trump, the most transparent guy on the universe, apparently. He's not vetted enough. This is Barack Obama, who never released his medical or college records, who had the media suppress his speech where he praised major Islamic leaders, suppressed by the media, whose entire memoir, basically, was found to be impressionistic fiction. He's claiming that that Trump isn't getting enough comb over. No pun intended. He's claiming that Trump is misleading the American people. That's his words, not mine. That's Barack Obama speaking to you. Now, this is the guy who told you that you never lose your doctor, that you never lose your health care. Remember that? Period. Rather, you'd save money on your health care. This is a guy that pulled out peacekeepers from Iraq and destabilized the entire country after he called it stable and self-reliant. This is his words, not mine. This is a guy who said he'd close down Gitmo. This is a guy who bashed George Bush for piling up debt. And then he turns around and spends more money than all other presidents combined in 8 years. This is a guy where Ben Gruber, his right-hand man, comes on and talks about how he willfully deceived the American people in Obamacare in passing it. Obama said that Trump is likely to trample the Constitution. Is this the same Obama who ignores existing law, who orders his attorney general, the highest legal arbiter in the land, to enforce some statutes and ignore others that they don't like? Is this the guy who boasts about the fact that he has a pen and a phone and he's going to sign treaties and executive orders and exhibit foreign policy with countries without Senate ratifying any of these treaties, these so-called treaties, which he doesn't even call treaties? Is Trump going to threaten to cut off federal funding to cities and states who believe that biologically identified males should use the male restroom? Does he mean that kind of trampling constitutional rights? I'm not sure what he's talking about. He's saying that he's claiming that Trump doesn't know enough to be president. Donald Trump isn't intelligent enough to be president. But this is a president who went on television and said we have 57 states. He said that Austrians speak Austrian. The Maldives Islands are the Franklins. This is a president who declared Hawaii to be a part of Asia. Now, these are all true. I know your media never tells you these things, but these are all true. How does this man give this speech with a straight face? Because there's no vetting. He's making fun of Donald Trump because he's not familiar with the nuclear triad. This is a guy who literally said when he was campaigning that we have 57 states in the United States of America. He also claimed that Trump was crude and vicious. And he claimed that that was a mortal sin in presidential politics, that politics should be loftier than that. Barack Obama's words, not mine. But this is a president who said to his supporters to get in their faces, to take a gun to a knife fight. He, quote unquote, punish your enemies. He claims that Trump is crude and that he's mean and that he shouldn't speak the way he does. But this is a guy who went to American businesses and said that they didn't build that. To me, that's pretty crude. He told them that they had enough money and they needed to spread it around. That's his words, not mine. This is a guy who made fun of the middle class, made fun of flyover country, told them that they clung to their religion, clung to their guns, stereotyped them as homophobic, narcissist, xenophobic, apple pie eating Americans. Trump is a polarizing figure, Barack Obama tells you. He's very polarizing. He divides people. Yes, he does. Why does he do that? Well, because he wants to seal the border, which just so happens to be federal law. But your president is quoted as saying typical Mexican persons. That's what Barack Obama said. By the way, would you think Trump would appoint an attorney general that said my white people? Or would he call black people cowards? Because Barack Obama appointed an attorney general that did just that. By the way, a criminal attorney general who perjured himself before Congress. Would he have a press banquet where a white comedian comes up and goes, "Yo, my cracker, we did it." Would that happen? Because that just happened last week. Except the guy used the N-word on national television in description of our president. So save it. Save the condemnation and the lectures to the American people how we're in a whole world of trouble. Barack Obama, it's possible we are. I'll admit that. But if it's the case, you brought it on us. If the next president is a totalitarian, it's because you set the template. It's because you've disregarded the limitations of power. And certainly your follow-up will definitely push the limits of that, since now there's precedence to do so. Your predecessor will probably abuse the elasticity that you stretched, so that you're lecturing the American people on this is beyond shameful. Need I remind you, Barack Obama, that you're the guy who told the American people that there were surgeons out there that were just doing random surgeries just to make more money. Now, granted, there was no proof of this whatsoever. Do you guys remember that? Basically that people were taking your tonsils out and doing all this invasive surgery when you really didn't need it, just to profit. This is when he wanted to pass Obamacare. That's how low this guy went, to trash doctors like that. No proof, no evidence, just popping off at the mouth about very professional people to shove Obamacare down your throat. That's the president you have. Save it. Save it. Thank you for listening to the Brock Lawley program.
À Brock Lawley Productions.